I already know that this is going to be an obnoxious video. It's pouring rain here. It's Sunday after the 22nd, so the 22nd. I don't remember when the 20th or the 22nd was. I think today's like the 22nd, 23rd. I was just thinking, I can't remember what I was thinking. I was thinking about the power of words, individuals. Yes, I remember now. So, I'm about an hour away from home, and I wanted to find a vegan restaurant to eat at. And so I punched in vegan, headed over, I wanted to try the place. And when I got there, they had a big LGBTQ flag and Black Lives Matter sticker on the door. And to be honest with you, I don't really care about, it doesn't upset me, the LGBT community or Black Lives Matter. But I don't want to eat at places that have a political leaning and advertise it in such a manner that they're trying to garnish customers through mock communities, and meaning like not all like, you know, Tim Dillon has a good joke about this. Like, Tim Dillon, for people that don't know, is probably like a libertarian / apolitical Staten Island chubby Irish comedian that's gay. But he doesn't talk about it much. People know that he's gay, but his act isn't about being gay, his comedy's not about being gay. It's not his personality. And so the LGBT community will try to pull him in, but he's not like a member of that community. But he's got a joke, or he used to have a joke about, he's like, I am a G. And let me tell you something about G's. We don't get along with L's. I mean, the only thing we have in common with L's is maybe the B's. And so it's a pretty good joke. It's from a while ago. They're probably hacking it up, but like, when I see somebody that has a rainbow flag on the door, it's like, hey, come in to eat. I stick my penis in an asshole. And it's like, why are you advertising that? And it goes the other way around. I wouldn't, if the other, like, it has nothing to do with like, I would eat at a restaurant that was owned by a black gay woman. But I wouldn't eat at a restaurant owned by a white straight male that had a gay pride flag, a Black Lives Matter flag, and a feminist flag on it. You know? It has nothing to do with it. I don't dislike any individual based on their sexuality, their race, creed, religion, or what have you. I base each individual on their individual actions. So the individual action that I don't like here is you putting a rainbow flag up as if it does something, or a Black Lives Matter flag. It just shows me that you're part of a governmental propaganda scheme, and I don't want to give you any money. It's no different than so if I went to a restaurant and they had a MAGA sticker on it, I'd be like, okay, I'm not going to eat here either, because these people are brainwashed into the other side. But I would eat at a restaurant that was owned by somebody who was MAGA. That wouldn't bother me. But it's like, to advertise that you're like in virtue signal to a particular group of individuals is what is crazy to me. And maybe I wouldn't even eat at a MAGA restaurant, but I would definitely eat like at a gun-toting conservative person's restaurant as an individual. Similar to, like I said, I would eat at a black gay woman's restaurant sooner than I would eat at a white straight man's restaurant that has a gay pride flag with a Black Lives Matter flag with a feminist flag, because it's like, okay, stop virtue signaling, it's pissing me off. It's no different, like, if I come up to your establishment and you say, oh, I'm sorry, you have to wear a mask, and I was like, oh, okay, no problem, and I just leave. And, you know, I used to say, okay, well, why, and like get in a little argument with them, whatever. Instead, I just leave and they lose my business. I went to a smaller place up here recently, and I ordered in the drive-thru. And when I got to the drive-thru window, the people had masks on, and they told me the price. And it's like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not interested in buying from you. It's like, you can feel however you want to feel about it, but I'm really not interested in like supporting these political movements, so you can just walk away from them. And it's really so I try not to talk politics on here, and everything that I just said is kind of political. So let me get into the philosophical aspect of this. And I probably talked about this in quite a few videos, because it's a huge linchpin point of this whole conversation that we're having. But some people see the government, or governments, plural, in different areas, as the body of organization that exists within the chaos in a different location. So in the United States, there's this huge system, and people on the right claim, and the further down the pyramid you get, the more different you get. So like, a lot of times you just see this, you know, there used to be like, oh, it's a left and a right dichotomy, and I'm in the thing, so it's going to be, this is my left hand, this is my right hand. For you, it's probably showing mirror images, but the idea of right versus left, and like, oh, it's not right versus left, it's totalitarianism versus freedom or whatever. And they try to separate the two. They try to show you like that both Republicans and conservatives are both totalitarians. Sorry, 1 second, I'm in the pouring rain here and I'm driving on the highway. I'm just trying to get a feel for my exit here. So then libertarians or anarchists will say, no, it's totalitarians on this side. And then you move this way and there's like minarchists, and then you have anarchists that want no government. And that does help you reconcile the linear point of the political system and the political mindset. And I know I'm getting back into politics, but this is a philosophical discussion, trust me. But as you go up the ladder of totalitarianism, you have Republicans and Democrats at the top. They're the same people. You really wouldn't be able to tell much of a difference between the two at the top. And then when you get a little further away, like people that are like work for the government that are supposedly conservative Republicans, and people that are Democrats, they're pretty much the same but a little bit different. And as you go down this pyramid, you get to the bottom, actual people in the real life world that claim that they're Republicans and Democrats are different. However, that's within this fake political structure that they've created, where they're making all these rules and regulations to follow, as if they pretend that the world and society is the government, where it's just a group of people with guns within the world and within this that have created a system, a giant mafia, and then convinced, brainwashed, and indoctrinated everybody since birth that they're part of it. Like when you're spit out into a hospital, you're born. So you go to a hospital in your area and you're born. Try to get your kid out of there without vaccines. Try to get your kid out of there without a social security number. They're ready to stamp that UPC right on the kid, give him a government number, and then inject him with all these things. And in order to not do that, it's a fight. So from day one, this societal indoctrination and propaganda is literally and physically put into each human without their say, without their consent. And in many cases, young boys are getting, their sex gland removed, their foreskin ripped off without anesthetics. Whole different topic. So that's within the system. Outside of the system, in reality, the people at the top have much less in common than the people at the bottom. And us down at the bottom on a day-to-day basis, like when you go to the store and you're like gonna buy food and you're shoulder to shoulder and you're having a conversation with somebody and it's going pretty a-okay, you have no idea what their political affiliations are. Now, one of the reasons that I believe they kept perpetuating the mask thing is because they wanted to see how many people were compliant to the government. It's a good litmus test. And if they keep pushing the thing and they're like, okay, we're pretty safe to move forward with some more of these things that we want to do because we got about 90% of the people willing to wear a mask. That's only 10% that are willing to shoot us in the face and stick a knife in our neck, stick a gun in our neck. And the people that are leaving the masks on now are showing that we're really in. Please put me in the house, massa. I got my mask on. And that's really what it is. They're trying to figure out how enslaved you are mentally into the process. Because what's really happening is there's a system in place, a natural order system. And we all fall within the natural order system of understanding. And the government is just an entity that's taking partial control of that. So, when I go back and I see these people saying, I'm part of the system, and this is the part of the system that I'm part of. I don't really care about Black Lives or anything like that. I care about the organization that's a government-affiliated program. I don't care about lesbian, gays, bisexuals, transgenders as individuals. I care about the political interest group that's lobbying the government with money and funds to take guns and point them at other people to make them do the wishes of the small group of people that identify as that. And as you move further away, you'll start to realize that if you say to somebody, like, on the street, hey, if you're not getting you away with from somebody, is it okay to take a gun out and point them at it? And they'll be like, hey, no. And it's like, well, what if I don't kill them? What if I just grab them and kidnap them and throw them in a cage until they comply with me? They'd be like, no, you can't do that. And then I say, okay, well, what if I write it on a piece of paper and me and you sign it? Can I then go and can I go hold a gun to somebody based on my opinion if they don't listen, kidnap them and throw them in a cage? And they're still going to be like, no. If you keep adding that, at some point they'll be like, oh, well, yeah, the government has to do this, this, and this. And there's a disconnect. There's a disconnect where they've never really thought it through. They were born into this thought process that a group of elites with guns can make particular decisions. And so for me, I like seeing those stickers one way because I know not to give them business. And 2, it's honest. 3, it shows me what percentage of society is brainwashed and part of the system. Like-minded, when people are trying to ban, like, what they call hate speech, they don't want people to be racist. They don't want people to discriminate. They don't want the Proud Boy groups. They want affirmative action, or they, all this stuff. It doesn't stop people from being bigoted. People are still going to be bigoted towards individuals and discriminate based on stereotypes. But wouldn't you rather know who those people are so you could stop associating with them? So, it's really interesting when, like, they go to a bakery and they say, hey, I want you to make me a wedding cake, but instead of a guy and a woman, it's got to be 2 men. And the cake shop's like, no thanks, I don't want to do that. And instead of saying, okay, well, I don't want to give you my money then, I want to go to a bakery that supports these ideas. Instead, they go to the government and they say, hey, this guy won't make a cake for us because we're gay. And then they say, hey, buddy, you got to make a cake for them, because if not, we're going to point a gun at you. We wrote it on this piece of paper, you have to make cake. Now we're going to point a gun at you, kidnap you, throw in your cage, and if you try to escape, we shoot you. And people are in agreement with that. Once you start recognizing that, you start asking some of these deep questions, not everybody, a lot of people see it, but some people are in agreement with that. Start realizing that these people are violent criminals. They want to say, I'm on the good side, they're on the bad side, vice versa. And this is on both sides. There's people that vote Republican, conservative, libertarian, that have certain things that they're fine with the government enforcing, and there's people that vote for Bernie Sanders, Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, and everything, that think it's okay for the left to do things. What you need to determine in your day-to-day life is which one of these individuals are willing to use force, and for what reasons they're willing to use force. So, if you agree with the non-aggression principle, the non-aggression principle is basically the use of force is immoral except in self-defense, or like relative self-defense, meaning like if somebody's attacking your child, you can still defend your child. You can defend yourself. Even like you can't be like, okay, well, the child's getting attacked, it needs to use a firearm and kill. Why is everybody? Ah, man, I'm so like. It's raining pretty heavy today. I get that, but like, this is like the 3rd accident where somebody's hit the guardrail. It's like learn to drive in the rain, people. Don't even get me started on government roads and government giving licenses to cars and how expensive car insurance is, because the insurance companies aren't in charge of giving out licenses. The government makes money from them. But anyways, where was I before my prefrontal cortex was shut off and turned back on again? Going through people pointing guns at you for their opinions. So once you recognize that, I remember I was having a conversation with a woman on a dating app, and this is when I was living in Massachusetts, so I was like living in the belly of the beast. And I said, she basically was saying men should have to pay child support. And I said, well, what, they have no say. So, okay, like, yes, you can morally say if you bring a child into the world and you had sex, then you know you could get the woman pregnant, then it's morally your responsibility. And my argument was, 1, women should pick better mates so they're not having sex with people that wouldn't do that. And 2, convince other people that you're a good person and that person's a bad person through your actions and negotiation, and have society shame those individuals into paying voluntarily and not, use a gun to do it. And she was like, no, they should be thrown in a cage. And I was like, well, if they don't pay it and they get thrown in a cage and they really can't pay it, and then they're losing skills in their life and they're getting in debt, so then how do they pay when they get out? It seems like a pretty bad system. And if it's about the father being a good father and seeing the kid, then that system doesn't work. And she was a single mother that couldn't get child support, so it was really triggering her mind. So I stopped the conversation. I said, okay, forget about that. Let's just go to it on the public thing. Don't you think that it should be voluntary to taxes could be more voluntary? We don't have to pay for stuff. Long story longer, she basically said, no, if that person doesn't pay their taxes, the government should show guns a-blazing and shoot them. They're part of the system and they have to pay. And I won't get too deep into it. Obviously, she doesn't have enough resources for her kids, so she wants her kid to have school. So she's thinking it is self-defense, like a child's going to die. So I'm fine with men pointing guns. But once you realize that somebody is either so stupid that they can't negotiate healthy, or so evil that they're fine without negotiation healthy, and that their solution is violence, then you want to stop supporting that person immediately. That's why free society is so important. Then once you stop supporting that individual, and they have real life consequences, even if that consequence is the ultimate consequence of like starving to death, you may be, the whole purpose of your life may be to show others what not to do, and it sounds pretty cruel, but it's a lot kinder than reading people that can't survive on their own and subsidizing them multi-generational until their child's offspring is so incapable and so unevolved in the proper direction. What I mean by that philosophically is, in a free society when things are going on, you need a particular set of skill sets. I have a particular set of skills. And if you don't have those skills, you won't survive. So back in the day, it might be hunting, gathering and stuff. As you move forward, it's reading, writing, not being violent and stuff like that. And if you subsidize bad activities or you subsidize activities by stealing or taking money from one group of society and giving it to another group of society, you're actually incentivizing that group of society not to learn more skills to get their own things. So it's a twofold hate-hate relationship. It's, and this happens all the time, so somewhat organically as well. Like OnlyFans and Simps is a hate-hate relationship. I'll do another video on that in the future. The government and their dependents are a hate-hate relationship. They don't care for them, they don't love them, they're not being kind, but they need a dependent, because if the dependents run out, then they're no longer have anybody that they need to be in charge of. Think of it like abusive parents that hold their children back intentionally because they want to feel like they've been terrible parents. So if their kids succeed and they're gone, then they have nobody to take care of them anymore. So they need to be just good enough to generate some resources to give to them, like a tax for being a child, but not so good that they can fly on their own, because they were such lousy parents that if the kid figures it out that they can fly on their own, then they'll be left because they did nothing good so that the kid would want a voluntary relationship with them. It is the same abusive societal relationship that goes on with the top-down structure with a lot of these places. So, anyways, long story, even longer for you. When I'm out, or when you're out in your day-to-day life, we have the ability. We have hundreds of soaps that we can buy from, hundreds of car companies we can buy from, hundreds of beers and alcohols and whiskeys and bourbons, and quite a bit of them taste, act, and are the same. The decision that you want to make, or at least I would suggest that you make, is instead of voting, every 2 to 4 years, depending on what you're voting for, to get a person that doesn't really have your best interests in mind. Vote every day when you're out, when you're making your decisions. And I don't really care what side you fall on. Some people might have been excited to shop at that or eat at that restaurant today because of those stickers. But I would urge you, as a lesbian, bisexual, gay, trans, queer, or whatever, if you do identify as that, I would be a little bit weary about just going and shopping at a place that puts those stickers up, because they're not really have your best interest in mind. They're just willing to either, one, use that as a moral signal to have you come in, or two, they're willing to use the communal system structure to point guns at people in order to get things that they claim are communal for those individuals, instead of looking them as individuals that are separate. And now you're aligning with somebody who says violence is fine. Violence is a way that you get things. The government is not something that we need to get rid of because it's violent. The government is something we need to take a hold of and then use the violence to get what we want. And if that's your mindset, that's fine. Have at it. Join up with those groups. I, for one, I'm choosing to have voluntary interactions to the best of my ability with other individuals that like to have voluntary interactions. And on a day-to-day basis, most of life is like that. When you go to the supermarket, you can figure out who's next in line. If somebody cuts, you usually figure it out. Once in a while, there's a jerk that gets pushed through. If you go to the beach and you're trying to lay your blanket out, you can usually find a place. People usually work together. Even though people have different agendas, different ideas, need bigger personal spaces, it all can get organically sorted out for the most part, and you don't need to pull your gun out and point it at people to figure it out. So, just clearing my mind. I'm almost home now. I had a nice rainy drive. I bought some products to sell on Amazon today from a discount store in the area. It's about an hour away. But these will go online, and I think this is like 1 day's worth of work. I'll go home. It'll take me a little bit to weigh these and put the labels on the outside. Then I'll drive them, ship them tomorrow. I left at 10. It's 1 o'clock. These will be done by 3, so that's going to be 10, an hour drive, another hour drive. So that's 2 hours of driving. And then it's 10, 11, 12, 1. 1 hour shopping, 1 hour packing. 4 hours total. And this is about $1,600 profit. So, not a bad little day. I used to have a channel, a second channel, it's still up, called Wright the Capitalist, where I didn't teach necessarily entrepreneurship, because I'm not really technically an entrepreneur. I'm a small business owner. I'm self-employed, kind of. I'm going to work this, and then this will go to someplace in the warehouse or distribute it. So I'm kind of leveraging other people's labor. But a true entrepreneur is investing in businesses that are startup, and then there's a CEO and everybody runs them. Or a business owner is kind of like hands-on, like this, or self-employed. But I ran a channel, Wright the Capitalist, where it kind of helped people that weren't enjoying their day-to-day life on a W-2 life kind of learn a 1099 life so that they could move forward into figuring out at least self-employment so they can get tax benefits and stuff, and then maybe become small business owners, and then if they get good at that, become investors or entrepreneurs. So if you're watching this video and that sounds like something I should make videos on that channel again, I'd like to start making maybe some easier explanations of crypto and decentralized finance, for short, DeFi videos for people. Even the explanation of how there's utility DeFi protocols, and also NFTs that are just raw art, NFTs that are utility NFTs, and then NFTs that are simply write-off NFTs for banking purposes and tax code purposes. If that's something that you'd be interested in, let me know. Leave a comment here, or go over to my other channel and sub. I think I got like 5,000 subs on that channel, and I kind of left it to die. So maybe I'll go back and start making some videos there if people were interested in that stuff. So, all right, just clearing my head. Again, I've filmed like 20 videos and I haven't uploaded any of them. I haven't edited them. I don't know if I'm ever going to. I like to just clear my head like this, practice my speech. And I do have a camera, and I did clean my office up to create a studio. So maybe these will just give me some ideas, and I'll repost some of these that are redone in the future that I do in my office that are a little bit more linear. But I don't like scripted videos. I like that this is kind of this reality of me cleaning my thoughts out, and then you get the authenticity. So maybe you gotta get a split second of me thinking, oh, where was I, what was I doing, and it's unedited. Maybe you have to hear the rain, maybe you have to see my dirty beard, maybe you have to see me not look at the camera. But then you know it's true. It's not a deep fake. It's authentic. It's me thinking to you, me putting the pieces together, trying to be empathetic with you as a viewer, where if I think I'm explaining something that doesn't make sense, finding a new analogy and cutting back, and then getting the skill set for myself to start a conversation, put a pin in it, kind of explain more, put a pin in it, go back to the original pin, branch it off, catch back up to the second pin, and then explain this thing, and hopefully in a manner that pulls people together. The idea of this was, maybe some people were upset, triggered. I'm sure there's plenty of people in the comments that would say you're homophobic or you're racist or whatever. And I really don't care. I mean, I go online all the time and people try to trick you and try to troll you, and I see people getting upset. I don't know if it's my constitution, my principles, or where I'm at. They literally do not affect me. I actually have a lot of fun with them. I'm on my Twitter right now, and I was poking fun at a comic, and the comics had a pretty big following and pretty aggressive following, and everybody kind of tried to pretend like they're coming after me, but it's like, you can't come after me because I'm bulletproof. Like, my emotions aren't affected. I either my brain is damaged. I love philosophy, philosophia, but I really am a fanatic for comedy. So my brain, when I read comments on the internet, it processes them as if they're a joke. So even if you say something bad to me, I assume you're trying to be playful and funny and a joke, and just a bad joke writer. So my mind's like, oh, you need a new tag for that. Or, nah, this isn't funny because that word's not funny. You should have used this word, which is much more comical. So anyways, I don't know where I was going with that. Oh, so the idea is not to pick on black people or people of the LGBT community when I started this off. But I'm sure a lot of them got triggered. I'm sure some of the MAGA people might got triggered halfway through. I mean, I'm vegan. So like when I'm online and I just like bring up anything about veganism, they're like, oh, you're a skinny soy boy, and then I look at their profile and they're a fat piece of crap, and it's like, bro, my living room's a gym, bro, do you even live, bro? So people have triggers. It's funny to watch people, like, both sides. Like, if you even bring up veganism, not even because I've seen a vegan post and I've said, don't talk about the vegan aspect, just talk about this argument here. And people's brains get so triggered by veganism that they're like, you're a soy boy, lefty soy boy. And it's funny to watch the right have a meltdown, and their prefrontal cortex just shuts off when they hear the word vegan. Similar to how many of the, if I say, I'm not really big into Black Lives Matter or LGBT community, people's brains just shut off and they never stop to ask. And I have not plenty, but I don't have many friends to begin with. But of the friends that I do have, most of them aren't white people. They're not men, and they do consider themselves allies or part of the LGBT community. So if you saw my friends list of who I talk to on a day-to-day basis, you'd be like, how is this possible? And it's like, because individuals aren't the internet. It's something that Gen X understands. That's what I'm saying about those stickers on the thing. It's a lie. You're lying to me. Your first interaction with me before you even open the door to your restaurant is a lie. And I can sniff it out. But in reality, I have friends that wear rainbow stuff around and go to, like, gay clubs or whatever, and it doesn't bother me because we talk to each other about individuals and individual issues and know each other on a personal level, and we're not these political talking points that we're all scared around one another, and we have to, you can only say this, but I can't say this around this person, I can't say this, but I got to do this, or this person will shun me. It's like, fucking just drop it. Anyways, now I'm just rambling, so hopefully you turned this video off so you didn't have to listen to that. All right, have a good day.